welcome back to Sakima's Ridge Homestead. So far this year we really haven't posted a whole lot of bee videos, and it's truly because we haven't done a lot with the bees. Swarm traps are out, we haven't caught any swarms. Our other 3 hives are sitting over there. Really haven't done many inspections on those. We just really haven't had the time to deal with the bees so far this year. But sitting right over here are 2 brand new NUCs that we picked up a week or so ago. We need to get those out of the nuke boxes and into the bigger permanent boxes. So let's go on and do that. Hello and welcome to our channel. We're glad you're here. Well, the NUCs we get are 5 frame. We get them from JC's Bees. He also has a YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the corner to his channel. They come in these cardboard waxed boxes. He puts a couple zip ties around them so they don't pop open on you when you're bringing them home. And when we bring them home, we put those car floor mats on top of there to keep as much water off as we can, because they are just cardboard. Definitely not designed to last a real long time. Kind of got it glued shut a little bit. A little smoke in there. And we're going to move this one from the 5 frame cardboard into a Flow Hive, which is an 8 frame. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Flow Hives. We are not. We have never used one before. Well, it's all drawn out, and that's all solid brood. Since that was on the end, we will put that one back on the end. The next frame I'm going to put in is a foundationless frame. It's got the little ledge they can build off of, and we've put this string in here so as they build down, the comb should get built into this string. So we take it out to inspect it and turn it, there's less chance of the comb breaking off, which has happened in the past. We'll put that one in next. A little bit of propolis on the side of these. That cleaned off. Okay, pull the next frame out of here. These are being very gentle so far, which is what we've always seen with JC's bees. They're a very, very calm bee. Some brood on that. Looks like a lot of nectar, some honey around the edge. This side's the same way. A lot of nectar in there and honey around the edge. The next frame we're going to put in is just a foundation frame. That one's got a lot of brood, a little bit of honey around the edge. Same thing on the other side, almost all capped brood. I'm going to put another one of those foundationless in here. These last 2 out. Lots of capped brood, nectar, honey around the edge. Same thing on this side. And our last frame. This one's pretty much just drawn comb with some nectar in it. Oh, and there's a lot of, I'm sure you can't see it, but there's quite a bit of larvae down in some of these combs. And there's eggs here on the other side. So this hive is doing quite well. See some there with pollen on them coming in. Really didn't see the queen, but really don't need to because we've seen larvae and eggs, so we know she's in there. Drop my hive tool. Center these frames back up. Now, there's a few bees here on the lid. We'll just drop them down in there. There's a few bees here in the box. Same thing. We'll just knock them down in there. Now, as I was saying, this is one of those flow hives. We've never used one of these before. We're not putting the top part on it right now. Move this back where the other one was. The top section of these hives have got special comb sections in them that you can access through the back of the hive here. There we go. Anyway, you can access through the back of the hive right here. You stick a lever in there and turn it, and there's like a tube that comes out the back, and you can actually harvest the honey right off of the hive. And since this is just a new hive, I don't want to put that honey section on here yet. I want them to build up this box and build up their numbers. And the other thing you have to do, you have to put a queen excluder in between the two halves, because you don't want the queen up in there laying eggs in that special section. That it's like two halves of the comb, and when you put the tool in, it'll split them like this, and all the honey will run down in between. So you definitely don't want her up there putting brood in, but they need honey for winter time. So I don't want to put that top on here until I know for sure they've got enough to go through winter, because we're beginning of July here. Our main concern is to get bees through to next year, not to get honey at this point. So we're probably going to put a medium on here and let them build up honey stores, and then maybe next spring we'll put that special piece on here to try out that the Flow Hive deal. If anyone's ever used one of those, you can put in the comments down below how it worked out for you and how it overwintered and all. But this is our first experience with it. This hive is actually for Paula's granddaughter, Kendallin. You've probably seen her in a few of our videos. So as we work this hive, she'll be out here, because this is going to be her hive to work. So let me open their vent here on the bottom a little bit. And that'll complete this hive. Now we can move on to the next one. Okay, this is the next nuke. This one's going to go into one of our standard 10 frame boxes. Go ahead and knock these extra bees in there now. One thing I'm finding, I'm not caring for these cardboard boxes. On the ends, there's a lot of open spots for bees to get up in there and hide. I knocked all the bees out of that other box several times, and there's still bees in there. So that's not a wonderful design there. Okay, there is almost solid brood. Almost solid brood on this side. A little bit of honey on the end. Or on the top, I mean. Put that in there. This first frame has got foundation on it. Put that one in there. Then we'll put one of the foundationless frames in. You always want to put a foundationless frame between drawn comb to help guide them to build. Okay, we got some brood, capped brood, and some nectar on both sides. And another foundationless. We've got a big plastic foundation here. A lot of pollen and nectar in this one on both sides. So they're definitely bringing some pollen and nectar in. And another foundationless. Two to go here. A lot of freshly capped brood on that side. A lot of capped brood on this side. Seeing larvae as well on the other side over there. It's a nice heavy frame. Got some honey around the top of it. And I guess I got one too many extra frames there. Last frame. A lot of honey across the top of this one. All those open cells are full of larvae. Get up close, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see the larvae in there or not. Other side is all freshly drawn comb. Really don't see anything. Oh, yep, there's larvae in there as well. So this is a very good laying queen, as was the other hive. Squeeze this one down in there. Okay, and that gives us all 10 frames. So in this one we've got our 5 nuc frames in here. 3 of the foundationless frames, and both ends have a foundation frame in them. So again, we'll try and dump all these bees into the top of the hive. Put our top on. Slide this over where the other one was at. There we go. And open their vent screen a little. You know, one thing that this hive is going to have to do that the other one didn't, they're going to have to learn a top entrance. All of our hives, we use a top entrance on rather than a bottom entrance. So they'll have to learn they need to go to the top, not the bottom. I'll take you around front and show you that. You can see this is our standard hive setup, and they're trying to get in down at the bottom because that's what they're used to. Throughout the day they'll learn that the entrance is up here. We use these top entrances. It's supposed to help with skunks, because a skunk will come along here and scratch the bottom of the hive, and as the bees come out, they'll knock the bees down and kill them. Up the top, it exposes their chin, and the bees are able to sting them easier. So they tend to not want to mess with these hives as much with the top entrances. It's supposed to help promote building at the top, since they have to actually come in and down through the new comb. If you're to add a medium or a super to this, they have to crawl through that to get to the hive. So it's supposed to help promote building up there. And there's one other benefit, but I don't remember what that was for sure. But the main thing is the skunks. But we do have a lot of skunk around here, and we've never had a problem with the skunks getting into our hives. The one behind me kind of concerned me because it's got the bottom entrance, but that's how that particular hive is designed, so there's no way to change that. We also keep a feeder on here all year. I said right now this is empty. We're probably going to make some sugar water up and feed all these. But with the top entrance, this can even stay here in the winter just as an empty bottle. There's still quite a few bees in here need to get knocked out. They'll eventually all make it down into the main hive. Just take this and lay it up here in the yard. They'll work their way over to it. And set the lid over there as well. So we'll come back in a little while and check these two empty boxes and make sure the bees aren't congregating in there. And just keep knocking them onto the hive. They'll eventually, I think you can kind of see them right here. These bees I just knocked out are starting to crawl down into the hive. So they'll find the entrance to their hive and they'll start taking off there. You can kind of see over there on the Flow Hive, they're already coming and going pretty good. Okay, there's the location of the two NUCs that we just put in the new boxes. As you can see, we've got all our hive stands there. We put all the hive stands there this year because that's kind of where we want to start centralizing the bees, is over here by the pasture. They get really good morning sun, and then as the day starts to heat up and get really hot, they start to go into the shade. So it's probably an ideal location for them. I know a lot of people put their hives out in the sun all day, and then they wonder why their bees beard. I mean, you see it on a lot of the forums and Facebook groups all the time. You know, why are my bees all over the front of my hive hanging off bearding? It's because they're too hot. This way they get the morning sun to get them going, but in the afternoon like this, I think it's probably like 2 in the afternoon maybe right now. No, it's 1:30. So at about noon, when it really starts getting hot, the sun gets above these trees and starts to shade these hives. So I think it's a pretty good location for them. It's good and dry. The only downfall is branches falling from the trees, which we just dealt with yesterday. And if we come right over here, this is where the hives used to be. Well, kind of still are. One of those hive stands used to be right behind these three hives, and the second hive stand was over here last year. Obviously, we've moved those stands. We've moved these hives off the stand on temporary stands, and what we're going to do is slowly move these hives a few feet at a time all the way over until we finally get them behind these hive stands and then onto the stands. You can only move bees less than 3 feet or more than 3 miles. If we just move these hives about 3 feet forward and to the side, they'll be able to find them. Once the bees orient to a certain location, if we were to take this hive and move it over here, all the bees that are out on flight will come back to here. Even if you close it up and do it at night, when they come out, they don't look. Everything seems the same to them, and they're going to fly out from the other location, but they know to come back to here. So all these bees in these 3 hives, if we were to just move them, are going to be over here wondering where their hives are at. So if we gradually move these about 3 feet at a time, slowly until we get them over there, they should follow the hive until they're in this location. And eventually, like I said, we just want all the bees over here. We're going to put wood chips, I believe, underneath these. I've got the weed block down, but we definitely need to get something on top of the weed block. And that way I can just mow up to them and go around behind them and not have to worry about mowing in front of them, because that does tend to upset them a little bit. But that's where we're at with our bees so far this year. Said we haven't done a whole lot. This one on the end was the swarm we caught last year out in the pasture. This one here is a nuke we bought from JC last year. And this one is a split we did off of this nuke. The one time we got in that earlier, there was a bunch of queen cells. So we just took the medium off and just sat it over here and did a walk-away split. And they're doing pretty good as well. So if we ever do an inspection on those, we'll bring you along. But right now we need to slowly get those moving over here so that all the bees are over in this location. And I think we can see here the pandemonium in front of this hive, trying to learn where their entrance is at. But they'll figure it out. It just takes them a little bit of time. So there's where we're at with the bees. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. If you've ever used one of those Flow Hives, please let us know how it worked for you and how well they overwintered in that, or if you did anything special, because we bought it used. We don't have any like instruction book or anything with it, so we're just kind of flying blind. But thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.